Hi there, it's Anna Rosie Duck Designs here. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I've just been working out that it's actually 18 days left before Sale-A-Bration ends, so I wanted to do another video to highlight some of the Sale-A-Bration products. And I kind of think it's going to be one of those, see how many Sale-A-Bration items can I put into one video, because I just wanted to highlight as many as I could so that you can actually see them in action and buy or get them if you so desire before the time runs out. So I'm featuring the Painted Seasons. Oh, hello Ollie, is that your grand entrance again? So I'm featuring, okay, yes, you've arrived. Hello to everybody from Ollie. We're not going to do what we did last video, are we, Ollie, and fall off? So if I do that, you're not going to roll off and fall on top of me, are you, like last time? Right, serious face, okay, serious. I'm featuring the Painted Seasons Designer Series paper and the Painted Seasons stamp set, which is a level 2 Sale-A-Bration reward. Now that was in the second release of Sale-A-Bration, and if you watched my last video you will have seen that from the 1st of March you can actually get the Designer Series paper on its own as a reward, and that would just be a level 1 reward. So just to clarify, level 1 reward, spend £45 excluding postage and packing and you get to choose one level 1 reward. Spend £90 excluding postage and packing and you get to choose a level 2 reward. Now I'm not going to go into this in great depth this video, but as I said and have been saying ever since Sale-A-Bration started, if your order is anywhere near the £90 mark, then you may well want one of the level 2 Sale-A-Bration rewards. However, do give serious consideration to making this the time that you decide to sign up to become a demonstrator, because there are some fabulous Sale-A-Bration rewards if you do that. So all the details of that were on my Sale-A-Bration update video, which was my last video. So if you're not clear about that, do go and just give that a quick look. So on to some crafting. This is the, are you comfortable? Are you? I feel like I'm competing. If it's not the bin men, it's you making a lot of noise. This is supposed to be about making cards, not the Ollie show. So the paper, it represents the 4 seasons of the year. Now I'm pretty sure that's probably winter, and that looks autumnal to me. I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking spring and I'm thinking summer, but I think that's open to discussion. But you've got some pretty florally pages on, or designs on one side, and then flip that over and you've got some nice, just basic, almost geometric type designs on there. That sort of reminds me of fireworks for some reason, or daisy centres maybe, but make nice background cards. So that's the paper. Now I just wanted to put that down there for a moment, just share with you a couple of ideas that I've used to make some cards. So this is, I knew that wasn't a good idea. So that is obviously this one, and then I've used literally the back of that piece of paper as my background card, and then I've just picked this out. That's Call Me Clover Lemon Lime Twist, and this stamp here is from another Sale-A-Bration reward. So while we're not going to be using that one, I just wanted to share that one with you, and that one is called Part of My Story. And you can see there's some lovely sentiments in that particular set to use that would suit a variety of occasions. So that is one Sale-A-Bration reward that we're going to mention. Let me put that up there. That's not for you to play with. So that's that one. And inside you can see some of the featured stamps from the Painted Seasons stamp set. Now this is a cling stamp, so it's going to stick very easily to your acrylic blocks. Now right at the start, when the cling stamps came out, we did start to say that they cling very well, but some of the little ones you can have a bit of an issue getting them off your block. Now generally speaking, I haven't struggled, but I have to say I struggled with this one and that one. So just making you aware of that. And the way around that is to just put maybe a little bit of washi tape just on one corner, just so that you've got something to get hold of as you pull your stamp off of your little block. Or I used a tiny bit of card just to lever it off. But I have to say they're the only two I've actually struggled with. But it's better to be forearmed and learn by someone else's mistakes. So I thought that was worth mentioning. It's a distinctive stamp set, which is a product which is exclusive to Stampin' Up, and it gives you this beautiful stamped image. The clarity of that is absolutely beautiful. I really love that pine cone, I have to say. So again, it's a really pretty stamp set to have, and that can be yours as a level 2 reward. So there was the envelope that went with that. This is another one where I've used this paper, and then I've used a background card of Grapefruit Grove, and then instead of my normal choice of a white or a black background card, I've actually gone with Early Espresso, which is a little bit different for me, a little bit of a departure from my normality of my crafting, but I thought that was quite effective, the way that all sort of married up together. And the stamp I've used in the middle there is actually from the Stitched All Around stamp set, which is available in the annual catalogue, and that's been cut out using the matching dies that go with that. Coordinating dies, I think is the word I'm looking for. And then I've just cut a little circle out there using a punch just to give me that background of Grapefruit Grove. So again, another little idea of how I've used that paper. Now with the Painted Seasons paper, there is a great variety of colour. So if we can just pan into the stamp pads there, you can see you've got Pool Party, Crumb Cake, Grapefruit Grove, Lemon Lime Twist, Early Espresso, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, Petal Pink, Pumpkin Pie and Call Me Clover. So there's got to be something in there that attracts to everybody's taste, I'd have to say. So we're going to use this paper. So this one with the little mushrooms on, but I'm going to use the flip side of that today, and that is Poppy Parade. That's the word I'm looking for. So I've cut my normal base card at 8 by 6, scored at 4 on the long side, folded, nice crisp fold using my bone folder, and then I've cut 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 to go inside the card, and then I've got a 3.5 by 5.5 which is going to be the inside of my card. Then for the front of the card, that is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and then I've got another piece which I've cut at 3 by 5. So let's do a bit of sticking down again as normal using snail. Something's got Ollie's attention. I don't know if it's going to pick it up on camera, but it fades in and out of the different colours, so that gives quite a nice effect on the colouring on the that geometric side of the paper. So I'm just centralising that. Again, I have to say this is not a colour that I use a lot, so it's really good when you get a paper that you're wanting to share with other people, and it makes you sort of step outside your comfort zone and use colours that you don't normally do, and then you sit back and think, oh, that's quite good, why don't I use that more often? That's that one. So I'm going to use this little stamp here, which is that one, and that's going to stick onto my block. I like the old days of lip salve. So I'm going to grab my Poppy Parade. Let's try not to get confused, that's what I want. And I'm just stamping onto the corner just to give a little bit of a design in the inside of my card. This is quite a deep colour, so you really don't want to stick your fingers in it, or we all know that I'm quite capable of doing that. But you can see the lovely depth that you get in that, and detail that you get in that stamp. So I'm just going to stick that down. I'm working on the basis that the quicker I get it stuck in the card, the less damage I can potentially do to it. So again, I'm centralising that. That's the inside of the card is done. So with my 3 by 5, so that's basically going to give us more of a border than I normally have around a card. And I'm going to put some Poppy Parade flower, that's the word I'm looking for, flower. Poppy Parade flower, and then I'm going to mask that and then add a Grapefruit Grove flower to go with that. So the first job is to add the flower. I'm just sticking that towards the top, about ½ an inch down, roughly in the middle. So that's my first flower. Now I want to mask over that, so I need to use a post-it note, and I need to stamp on the design, but I need to make sure that that is where the sticky bit is. So I'm just going to cut round that, so if we pause the video while I do that. So I have his permission to blame the cameraman because he stuck his thumb across the stop button. So yet again we've messed the video up, and we're going to try and stick two together. So as I was saying, while I was off camera, I just added a little bit of Wink of Stella to my first stamp of the flower, which you won't see the Wink of Stella, but as you can see, it's actually blended some of the Poppy Parade colour, and it's turned it that orangey colour, which is going to then help to coordinate with the grapefruit grove that I'm about to put onto here. Now I haven't, normally I would just cover the whole image, but I've just picked out the deeper elements of that flower, just so that when the card catches the light, it will just have that little bit of shimmer to it. So it's a not in your face like I normally do. Also, I've stamped out my little image, and I'm going to stick that. So I've got a sticky bit here from the post-it note. I'm going to stick that, I can find the bit it relates to. I've always been rubbish at jigsaw puzzles, so bear with me. So that is masking my original image. Again, whilst off camera, I have stamped on a piece of Whisper White thanks, because this is going to be a thank you card, believe it or not. And I've got that from set that I have buried somewhere on the desk. There we go. A big thank you. That again is a great stamp set to have if you, like me, find yourself needing a lot of thank you cards. That's also a lovely sentiment. I've sent that to various friends over the past few months since I've had it. I want to say it's in the annual catalogue. I will obviously put as normal my all the different codes at the front of the video, and I've cut it out using the layering oval framelits, so the piece of Whisper White and a piece of Poppy Parade, and I've used the smallest two of the crinkled edged dies. I'm going to put that just away safely before I lose them. Somebody kicks them under the bed. So let me just stick this down before I lose it on the desk. So it's not going to be much of a border around that. But the little crinkled edge sort of works, I thought, quite well with the floral aspect of this card. So I've cleaned off my stamp, and I'm taking my Grapefruit Grove. And I want most of the flower, but not all of it, so I'm just going to go over the top there. Ollie has gone to bed and he's now squeaking. So that is the two flowers. Now, leaving the mask on, I want to add some leaves to that. Let me just put that away, clean the stamp. And I'm using my Lemon Lime Twist, again a featured colour within the paper, and I'm using the leaf stamp from the Painted Seasons stamp set. I have to say I've re-inked this because it's almost 2 years old, this pad, so it may not come out quite the way I want it. I'm stamping it off because I don't really want that vivid green, and I just want some of the leaves showing. I don't want the whole thing. I have to say, when this is one of the 2017-2019 colours, and I'm totally in love with this colour, but then we got Granny Green Apple, and my loyalties, I have to admit, shifted somewhat, and I keep going to Granny Green Apple when I need one of these vivid greens. So it's been really nice to revisit Lemon Lime Twist and remind myself what a lovely colour it actually is. And it's also quite sad because it's going to be going very soon. So it's just a little reminder, if like me, you like some of the 2017-2019 colours, then now's the time to order them, because they are going to be on a while stocks last basis. because obviously they are going to be disappearing come the 1st of June. So if you've got pads and you want some re-inkers, or you just want a new pad, then now is the time to put your order in. As I said, I'm totally rubbish with jigsaws. I think you should be doing this, and I should be holding the camera. Jim loves a jigsaw and I've got no idea. That looks it like it, doesn't it? Now I didn't stamp that one off because I'm actually looking for a little variation in colour, so I'm going to come back down here using the full colour. I'm going to stamp off again, just so I've got some random leaves. So we've got a nice variation there of some greens. And I want some Wink of Stella. Let me just put that out of the way. And again, I'm not doing the whole image, I'm just picking out the darker elements, just so that there will be a little bit of shimmer from the card when it catches the light. So totally random. Yeah, that's fine. So the next thing I'll do is stick that onto the front of my card. So remembering this is a smaller piece of paper than I normally use for my central card, just trying to make sure that I've got a reasonably even border around the card. And then I'm just going to stick that on the bottom using a couple of Stampin' dimensionals. Now for the envelope, I would just do what I've done with this one and just do a little flower on the corner of the envelope, just so that it's a little bit pretty. Now I'm quite happy with that. I did wonder whether it would benefit from maybe some diamante embellishments, or maybe some gold sequins. I'm not really sure. Sometimes less is more, I have to say. Let me just, I think if anything the gold works better, so let me just put my pick it up tool with the putty on the end, which is great for picking up sequins. These are just sequins that come on a roll and you can just pull them off. I think that probably actually does add a little bit to the design, so I might go with that. So I'm just going to use a glue dot. Just gives it that little other added dimension. putty, you can turn it to get the next bit of putty out. So I'm picking up my sequin, putting it on my glue dot, sticking my finger with another glue dot, do you ever wish you'd not started something? Yeah, I do, every single video. There you go. What I don't want is a bit of the glue dot hanging over from the back, because that will just stick to whatever it comes in contact with. So I'm just going to pour myself another one of there. Get rid of the glue dot on my finger. As I say, there are plenty of professional videos out there. It's always good. Mine are always worth a laugh. If it's not the cat, it's me causing chaos. I have to say, he's gone to sleep at the moment. When we were in a well-known supermarket over the weekend, I have to say, in the pet department they had a little bow tie for cats, and it was like a leopard print, and it would have matched his fur really well. And I was thinking, oh, Ollie would like that. That'd be good when he's filming. But as Jim pointed out, the chances of Ollie actually keeping it round his neck were very slim, so I put it back. But it was very tempting. He's nothing like Bob Bob the Street Cat, the film. Wore scarves and things. There's no chance Ollie ever doing anything like that, I have to say. But it would have been a good look. Right, there we go. So yeah, I actually think it was worth all the struggling there. It's just just giving that card a little bit of a lift. So that is one of the cards. I'm just going to clear the deck, so we're going to try and pause the video again, and I'm just going to come back and just show you another quick card using another one of the Sale-A-Bration stamp sets. So this is the other card that I wanted to share with you, but I've done some of the work already, because otherwise this will start to become a long video, which I'm sure nobody's really got the time to spend watching it. So I'm trying to make it as short as possible. So my normal card, 8x6, scored at 4 and folded in the middle. So that's your card base. I've cut 2 pieces of lemon lime twist out at 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. I'm going to stick one on the front and one inside. I have to say, and I know I said it earlier in the video, but revisiting this has reminded me what a lovely colour this is. How sad it is that it's actually going to be going. But I'm sure, having said that, there will be some really lovely new in colours coming through, so all is not lost. And it's not too long now before we find out what they are, because the new catalogue for demonstrators will be launched on stage next month. So I'm sure it won't be very long before we're all sharing what all the new products are. So I have to say, slightly off centre, but we won't worry too much about that, because I'm just trying to really show you what the card is like. So again, 3.5 by 5.5, and this time I'm using the toadstool side. just going around the bits that I can actually get some snail to without sticking it across this bit. So let's go up here. It's always the way, isn't it, when you're trying to do something in a hurry, it'll actually be easier to do it at a normal pace. But I have this horrible feeling with my tablet that it tends to get the ump about half an hour into filming and gives up. Right, so there we go. And I've cut that out using one of the layering oval framelits, and I've used the biggest one of the crinkle edged ones. Now inside I've got 3.5 by 5.5, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to that. So I'm going with some lemon lime twist leaves. Now this was one of the little stamps that I said I did have trouble getting off of my block. So if you notice, I've just used a little bit of my post-it note. So I've stamped off one and I'm doing full colour on the other. And then the same with this, I've used a bit of post-it note there, and I'm just going to add some little stars in the poppy parade, just to give that little bit of extra detail inside, so it's not a boring card. It's not going to have a sentiment because it's just actually like a little note card, so blank to do what you wish with. So let me just stick that into the inside. It's handmade, it's not 100%. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So for the inside of this, I've used this other Sale-A-Bration set, which is called Home to Roost, and I've used the cockerel. Now with the card that I made before, I used a little hello stamp which came out of the Banners for You stamp, but I just thought it made more sense to just use the one stamp set, which we're trying to show you what we can do with the Sale-A-Bration stamp. So I've used the Just a Note little stamp there, and I've stamped out the cockerel in Memento Black, which is just reminding me I haven't put my lid back on. I managed to stick that box across the top of it. That's quite artistic. So Memento Black, I've stamped my cockerel out in, and then I've used some stamping blends and some ink pads just to colour him in. Now I don't want to do all that on camera because it's going to take too long, but I will just start one to show you what I mean. So I've gone with Grapefruit Grove, then I've gone with Poppy Parade, Call Me Clover and Lemon Lime Twist. So cockerels generally have an orangey bit on the top, don't they? So we'll start with the orange, but we won't use the Wink of Stella because that's not a great idea. So I suppose it's a new way of colouring. So I'm doing his little head and whatever that flappy thing that's called on the top of his head, and I'm doing his leg, and then I'm just going to pick out a couple of his tail feathers. So that's that. Let's just do the next one. Let's do one of the greens. So we're doing the Call Me Clover. Now that comes out as quite a dark colour to start with. So I'm taking my blender pen and I'm taking most of the ink off of that until it starts to get quite pale. So I'm just going to do this bit. His body. And so on and so forth. So another little tail feather. Put one of those up there. So basically I've used, as I said, the 4 colours, and when the cockerel has finished, then I've actually gone right over the top of him with some Wink of Stella. So he's nice and shimmery, standing out from the middle of the card. And then I've cut him out using this solid oval. Now this one is slightly bigger than the one I used on that card, because on this one I've got a smaller stamp as my sentiment, and I've literally just taken off the edge of his tail feathers. But because this one has got just a note and you've got the 3 little dots afterwards, I actually wanted to keep the complete cockerel. So he's going to be, you're not going to see too much of the lemon lime twist in the middle. And I'm going to stick that on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Now again, with the envelope, I would do something very similar to what I've done to the inside of the card, just to pretty the envelope up. Just stick one in the middle. Just saying, we've got some very good cats in the house today. Won't last, for sure. So, literally going to have a very small border of lemon lime twist that we're going to see around this one. And there's a little note card. So I hope that's given you some ideas of how to use some of the other Sale-A-Bration items that I hadn't managed to feature as yet. Just a couple of other things. I've used this stamp set. This was just a basic serviette that I use all the time. Very cheap to buy. But I just love the pattern, and I just thought I tend to look at a lot of things in Stampin' Up colours, and I'm thinking Highland Heather, Granny Green Apple, Grapefruit Grove, and the closest I could get to that was Balmy Blue. So I've literally, using the stamps out of this stamp set, the Painted Season stamp set, I've just basically made my own background card. So again, you can get creative with just a stamp set and 2 or 3 ink pads, and then you could use that as a base of a card. So maybe the Highland Heather would look nice as your base card, and then that on the top with perhaps a sentiment. So lots of possibilities when it comes to stamping. And I think finally what I want to say, I did talk about doing a wedding card next, but I suddenly realised I hadn't ever got back to doing this, using this stamp set and the coordinating framelit dies, which are again a Sale-A-Bration reward, which are part of the first launch of Sale-A-Bration, and it's the Tea Time framelit dies. Again, it's a level 2 reward. We do know that these will be coming through to the annual catalogue, so all is not lost if you don't get them now, but it is an opportunity to get them as basically as a free gift when your order qualifies for a level 2 reward. So I just wanted to use this next time just so that we could see how they work, and they work in conjunction with the Tea Time stamp set, which from memory is in the spring summer catalogue, but that is available right through but the framelits won't be available once Sale-A-Bration ends until the annual catalogue. So that's what we're going to do next time, and then we'll go back to the wedding card after that. So thanks ever so much for joining me. I hope that's been of some use as to how to use some of the Sale-A-Bration items. As I said, there is just 18 days left of Sale-A-Bration, so if there's something you've been wanting to order, then now is the time to do it. As always, the links to my online shop will be on the front of the video, as will be my business Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram as usual, and all the all the details of products that I've used. And I think my plan is that I will do a blog post at some point with this, so I'll put the link on that as and when I've done it to the front of this video. So if you've enjoyed it, please do give me a thumbs up, and also if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would be brilliant. All that happens is you get to be notified when I've uploaded a video, and you get the choice whether to watch it or not. So thanks, as I say, for joining me, and for all my sleeping pets who have been very well behaved today, I will say goodbye. What we're panning through on them, are we? Just trying to avoid the washing that's hanging on the top there. Real life gets in the way of crafting. Another 2¼ hours and they won't be looking like that. They'll be jumping up and down waiting for their dinner. So thanks ever so much, and I will be back again very soon. But until then, take care. I'll see you then. Bye.